Every year, too many workers are hospitalized or die from heat-related illness. There have been reports of amateur and professional athletes who've died by the effects of heat illness. Employees working in hot environments can also suffer from heat illness. When the temperature exceeds 80 degrees and the relative humidity approaches 20% to 40%, employers must take action to reduce the risk of heat illness. At temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, especially with heavy work, heat risk reduction needs to be a major concern. Heat cramps occur during or after strenuous exercise or outdoor activity. Symptoms are usually severe pain and cramps in the legs and abdomen, faintness or dizziness, weakness, and profuse sweating. Heat cramps may also be a precursor to heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion is a condition that can occur when exposed to heat for a prolonged period of time. The problem is compounded when there is both heat and high humidity. If heat exhaustion is left untreated, it may progress to heat stroke, a real medical emergency. The effects of heat exhaustion can usually be reversed by providing fluids and a shaded, cool location in which to cool down. Medical care is always advisable. Heat stroke strikes suddenly and with little warning. Heat stroke is a major medical emergency that can result in death. Heat stroke occurs when the body becomes unable to control its temperature. The body's temperature rises rapidly, the sweating mechanism fails, and the body is unable to cool down. Heat stroke can cause death or permanent disability if emergency treatment is not provided immediately. The signs of heat stroke include very high body temperature, hot, dry skin, absence or lack of sweating, fast pulse, confusion, and possible loss of consciousness. Should these symptoms occur, you need to call 911. Ask 911 for instructions until responders arrive. Get the victim to a cool, shady area. Cool the victim rapidly using whatever methods you can. For example, immerse the victim in cool water or place them in a cool shower, or spray the victim with cool water from a hose. You can also sponge the person with cold water, place ice pack around the wrists, ankles, and neck, and fan the victim vigorously. Only give the victim water to drink. Become familiar with the requirements of your state or federal safety regulations pertaining to the prevention of heat illness. For further information, check your state or federal OSHA's website for information on heat illness. Acclimatization refers to the time the body needs to adapt when temperatures rise suddenly. Workers need time for their bodies to adjust or acclimatize to working in hot conditions. Acclimatization is particularly important for employees returning to work after a prolonged absence or recent illness and/or recently moving from a cool to a hot climate, or working during the beginning stages of a heat wave. Employees and supervisors must be trained and highly aware of the company's heat illness prevention program on how to identify the signs and symptoms of heat illness, shade requirements, and preventing the onset and treating potential victims. In conditions of high heat and strenuous work, sweating can cause you to lose more than a quart of fluid per hour. Continuous replacement of lost fluid is absolutely critical to maintain the life-preserving cooling effects of perspiration. The best source of fluids is a lot of water. Drinking water must always be in locations that are readily accessible to all employees. The water provided must be cool, fresh, and in sufficient quantity. Clean, single-use disposable cups for sanitation should be available. Clean and disinfect the water container daily as well. Other fluid options such as soda, tea, coffee, caffeine-charged drinks, and sport drinks are not as effective as water. The importance of rapidly obtaining emergency medical services in the event of a serious injury or illness can be critical. The goal here is to reduce the progression to a more serious illness. A first aid provider who is available at the site can determine the appropriate response when an employee is experiencing possible symptoms of heat illness, which may range from drinking water and resting in the shade to calling 911 for emergency medical attention. It's easier to prevent heat illness than to treat it once symptoms develop. Take the time to learn the signs and symptoms and treatment of heat illness. Follow your organization's heat illness policy and stay cool this summer season.